I'm going to try this again. Good morning. Hope everybody's doing well. This is Tuesday the 12th. The calendar's up here. We're going to talk about calendar for just a minute. We have 1 week from tomorrow. So let's look at the calendar. 1 week from tomorrow. Today's the 12th here. The 13th tomorrow. The 20th is the AP exam. So on the AP exam, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, everybody needs to be at their computers ready to roll. And we'll talk about what to do before that moment. We've already I've already discussed it a bit, but I wanted to do an overview today again, and then I will do it again next week to make sure that we all understand where we need to be. So the 20th is your AP exam. I'm getting through, and I will be through all of the rough drafts, probably done with them by tomorrow. Then I'll get through the AP exams, the practices from last Friday. I'll get through those by Friday-ish. I'm hoping. And then the last practice you have is on the 18th. I know on this date up here it says the 15th. I moved it to the 18th. For a due date, it's open. There's no timer. You can do whatever you like, but please try to keep it in the 45 minutes and then make sure you hit submit. Go in, I'll touch on that in just a second. Then after that, you'll get the rough drafts for your essays. You have this here, and once all that's done, revise your essays and get them in. 25th, 26th-ish is fine for me, and I'll get them graded and out and about, and not very much stress with that. They're looking really good. I do not see anyone who will not be successful with this rough draft. And the final drafts, it does not seem like we're going to have an issue unless you're not turning stuff in. If you're not handing things in, you're probably not watching this, so it doesn't really matter. But if you're handing the things in, you're doing fine. 1 week. Okay, what I want to do is go over the documents if I can, please. So this is your AP exam checklist. It is on your classroom. If you go to classwork here and you go down, this little tab here shows resources, and this is your checklist right there. So it is on there. But let's look at it. So this is what you should have in your possession on exam day, and you should have gone through all of this. Am I ready to test? You should have gone. You should get your e-ticket from College Board. Is my device plugged in? Go through all of this stuff. Did you practice with the demo? Did you go here and do this? If you have not, you need to accomplish these tasks. These documents, these 2 documents I'm going over now, should not be skimmed. They should be read in detail. You should know, because at the end of the day, if something messes up, they're going to be asking you these things, and if you have not done these things, you have no leg to stand on. So please keep in mind to read these, not just skim them, to read them and do all of these that apply to you. Now, a couple of the things deal with languages and things of that nature, like right here, AP Music Theory. We're not dealing with that, so you don't have to worry about that. But everything else, you need to have read and said, I should do that. And if you're not sure, you have emailed me and communicated to me, and we have communicated, and we have worked forward to accomplishing that. I had a student say they weren't registered for the test, and we're working through that. So that's the thing to do now on the 12th of May as opposed to the 20th of May. All right. So please read through this, and this document you should have in your possession on test day with your ID, with your ticket, all of that information. Prior to that, here is the testing guide. I think. Let's go off of this. Oh, here it is. The testing guide. So as you're going through the testing guide, again, this is a document that you should not be skimming through. You should be reading every page of this. It's not that long, right? What? How many slides? 30-something slides. Hang on a second. Okay, 51 slides. But read through it, each slide. This is not grueling reading, but most of it, you read through this. It's going to take you all of about 30 seconds to read this, but you know what's going on for test day. I've talked about it multiple times in videos. I've gone through this in videos, but you need to make sure that you're revisiting these things so when it comes time for your exam, you know what to be doing and you're not caught in the lurch. If you are caught in the lurch, had a student had an issue with one of the practices, had connectivity issues, if you have your younger brother come screaming into the room and distracts you or whatever it is, something happens during this process, you will have the opportunity, and this goes through that process in this document for getting to the makeup. You might have to do the makeup. So if something happens, you go through the makeup, and the makeup will be June 5th at noon. Yeah, is it after school's over with? Is it? Sure, I can't worry about any of that. But if something does happen, there is an option for you. After that, there are no options. So you have the 20th and the 5th to make this happen, and it is on you, no one else, that you have read through this. On you. So please make sure that that is accomplished. So if you've read through this test guide, and if you have gone through your exam day checklist, and if you have been doing the practices, and what I'm reading from the practices is getting better and better and better each week, you should be just fine. You should be just fine. Now, I mentioned before, I did sign up to be a reader, so I will be a reader again this year. And I wasn't going to do it, but then I started thinking, I want to be a reader in this virtual space, because if something happens this year, you guys will be getting your tests back, your essays back. I will be getting your essays back and know what you got on it. So if you look at it and you're like, hey, Mr. Bell, I think I should have passed this. I think I crushed this thing. I can look at it, and I will have gone through the assessment process with AP, and I will be able to look at it and say, you know what? This probably should have passed, and I don't know why it didn't. We can submit that for review. I'm going to be much better prepared to be able to do that in that situation. Now, mind you, you might say, hey, Mr. Bell, I think I should have passed this. And I look at it, I'm like, well, I don't agree. I think that this is a valid grade here, and here's why. We might have to stand on that, and if you still wish to, I will be happy to resubmit whatever. But we need to keep in mind that. However, with AP, make sure I got my notes set. You don't skim. You have your document. You have your checklist with you. You don't forget to read all these documents. Okay. The new practice is up and open. I think I mentioned that. That's the last one is due on Monday, and I'll be looking through those. Again, you're doing them. You're getting the grades. Grades should not be a stress for you at this point in our lives, unless you're not handing things in. If I'm not getting materials from you, that's an issue. That being said, I've gotten many emails because I got a 0 on a week ago Friday's AP, and I did it. I did the right one, and then several people, not one, not two, but several, got a 0, which is my hey, heads up to you. Then I'm like, well, did you push submit when you finished with it? Oh, no, I didn't. So we push submit, then I can go back and read it. But if you don't push submit, I have nothing to read. It just shows as in progress, and I can't access that. So therefore, I give you the 0. You go back and look at it, and you're like, oh, okay, I need to hit this, and then we're fine. I'll go through and look at it. I'm not going backwards right now. I'm going forward, so I'll get to that. But keep in mind that might be the issue. So go back and check your work before we go to another level. We are almost there. We are almost there. So we have 3 things that we're getting through. We have this one practice, which should not be an issue for you. You have your rough drafts, which you should be working on your final drafts already. You'll be getting feedback from me. About half of you have gotten that already. And then the other half will be today and tomorrow, and I'll finish those up, and I'll get to the AP stuff. And then you have your papers. What I'm seeing on the papers, the majority of them, it's an hour or 2 worth of work over the next couple of weeks on that. So after the AP exam, you spend a little bit of time revising this thing. I would just put it on work on it a little bit after you're done with your practice, but I would absolutely not be stressing over that essay. What I'm looking at for those of you who have handed them in, you're going to be just fine with grades. That is not a stressor for me at this moment. And for the IB students, you will be able to revisit these next year before you submit them to IB. So we're going to have a great foundation. You're going to have a great foundation on which to build for that. And for the AP students, you've gone through this essay process, the non-IB students, and that's a positive as well. Again, have questions, let me know. I've done a couple of video conferences with students who requested them. I'm happy to do that as well. Whatever I can do to help you, please let me know. And if you finish watching this, thank you very much. And I hope you have a great week. And I am really looking forward to being through with this, but I'm going to push through and we're going to work hard at getting it accomplished. All right, take care.